substance scare to edible education.
One little candy can look so harmless.
How to have simple, honest, and age-appropriate conversations with your kids about drugs. The cost of unattended cooking.
People are not staying in the kitchen when they're cooking.
Reminder from fire officials, a few seconds of distraction can lead to dangerous and costly emergencies. And the angle advantage.
It's got to roll back to 6 p.m. It's affecting the businesses down here.
A downtown city councilor's proposal that could save free parking after 6.
CTV News with Stefanie Masotti.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on CTV Windsor and AM 800. Closing arguments are winding down in the murder trial of a Toronto man charged with killing an Essex woman. 20-year-old Juliana Pannunzio of Essex and 18-year-old Christine Crooks of Toronto were both killed on January 19th of 2021 in the Niagara region. 27-year-old Christopher Lucas of Toronto pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of second-degree murder. CTV's Michelle Molesky is in Welland this week covering the closing arguments.
The defense continues to maintain that a different person, Trevor Barnett, is the shooter involved in this incident. And today they told the jury Barnett struck a deal with Crown attorneys to testify against Lucas. At trial, Barnett didn't identify Lucas as the shooter. He fabricated a lie about 4 unknown men as being the shooter that night, according to the defense. They say he wanted to vindicate Lucas, but also not get himself in trouble. The jury knows Barnett was charged with murder, but he pleaded guilty to a much lesser charge of obstruction of justice. The defense says the shooting started because of an argument between Barnett and Christine Crooks. It might have been an accident, the defense says. They say Pannunzio was, quote, collateral damage, killed because she witnessed a shooting and Barnett did not know her, so he couldn't control her and force her to lie to police. The defense says Lucas fled the scene, changed his name, threw away his cell phone, and moved out of the area because he was out on bail and on parole at the time of the shooting, but not because he was guilty of murder. After a closing that lasted 6.5 hours, the Crown addressed the jury. The prosecution agrees Barnett is not on trial for murder, but he's not the shooter, rather the person who, quote, coached the cover-up. The Crown says Lucas was in a domestic relationship with Crooks, having met her 2 weeks before her death. Some argument broke out and Crooks was shot in the finger, possibly by accident. Pannunzio was killed, the Crown says, because she was the only person there that night willing to call 911 after the first shot. The Crown says Barnett and Lucas dragged Crooks to the bathroom where she was shot for the last 2 times and left to die in the adjoining bedroom. The jury has also been reminded Lucas wore a bulletproof vest to that party. The jury was allowed to go home tonight, but asked to come back here to court on Wednesday morning, ready to be sequestered. Justice Ramsey will then instruct them on the law and provide an overview of the evidence from the 9-week trial. After that, the jury, made up of 6 women and 6 men, will be sequestered until they can reach a unanimous verdict. In Welland, Michelle Molesky, CTV News.
A charge of manslaughter has been laid after an inmate overdosed and died inside the Southwest Detention Center. On June 16th last year, a 33-year-old inmate died overnight. Windsor police said the inmate was found in medical distress and taken to hospital where he was later pronounced dead. A post-mortem exam found the cause of death to be fentanyl toxicity. On Monday, a 33-year-old man was found and arrested in the 2400 block of Dougal Avenue. He is facing charges of manslaughter and trafficking a controlled substance. The Canada Border Services Agency has had a few busy days. It says officers seized 5 firearms, 5 magazines, 33 pairs of brass knuckles in 4 days in southern Ontario. 2 of the firearms and 16 rounds of ammunition were seized at the Ambassador Bridge. Both U.S. citizens paid a $1,500 penalty and were returned to the United States. Over the weekend, Windsor police stopped 3 separate vehicles for stunt driving. 2 drivers were clocked at more than 100 kilometers an hour on Wyandotte Street, while a third was stopped doing 160 on the East Row Expressway. All 3 had their licenses suspended and vehicles impounded. Now, it was 1 week ago today that several students became ill after consuming THC edibles at a Windsor elementary school. So how do you talk to your kids about something like this, especially in a world where cannabis products are all around us? CTV's Travis Fortnum has been working on this story, and you actually spoke to a parenting expert exactly on this topic.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we know cannabis is legal. It's all around us in Windsor, Essex, and all over Canada. And after last week's incident, a parenting expert says that's a reminder. Talking to kids early and often matters. When some students got sick last week from consuming THC edibles at their elementary school, one of them called a parent upon realizing something was wrong. Parenting expert Sarah Rosensweet says that moment matters, and it doesn't happen by accident.
You want to be that first person that they come to if they've made a mistake or if they're feeling unwell.
That kind of trust, Rosensweet says, is built over time through regular, age-appropriate conversations. Because in a world where cannabis products are legal and everywhere, kids can learn about them a lot sooner than you might expect.
That story that you shared is that's really young, right, in middle school. But it's, I don't think that's unusual these days.
Rosensweet says avoiding the topic altogether can make it harder for kids to come forward when something goes wrong, which is why she encourages parents to start by listening.
You walk down the street and every other block has a cannabis shop. So even just asking kids like, hey, do you know what they sell at that store? And asking kids what they know is always a great place to start.
From there, she says it's all about being clear without being alarmist.
I think it's important to not vilify substances and that they're not bad or evil, but they're really something for grown-ups.
Rosensweet says simply telling kids don't do it is rarely effective and can sometimes have the opposite effect.
I don't think that it's ever worked in the history of a teenager to say, don't do this, and your kid is not going to do it just because you say don't do it.
She says parents aren't with their kids all the time, and it's not realistic to expect rules alone to prevent every situation. With edibles specifically, Rosensweet says the risk is that they don't always look dangerous, and it's easy to take too much.
One little candy can look so harmless.
If and when a child does make a mistake, Rosensweet says how a parent responds can shape whether that trust holds.
It doesn't mean that you're going to be happy if they've done something like eaten an edible at school and gotten really sick, but you're going to be the person who's going to help them rather than the person who's going to make them feel terrible about their decision. When it comes to skirting peer pressure, Rosensweet says parents can give their kids permission to throw them under the bus. For example, tell friends or whoever that their mom or dad drug tests them every single week so they can get out of that tough situation.
Yeah,
Stefanie?
These are definitely hard conversations to have. You know, they must be talked about without a doubt. And of course, a great parenting expert there. And we have more tips on our website, ctvnewswindsor.ca.
Yes.
Okay, Travis Fortnum, thank you for this. So here is our question of the day. Have you talked to your kids about drugs? Go to our website to cast your vote, ctvnewswindsor.ca. Yesterday, we asked if you think the GST and HST should be permanently removed on all food. Almost 900 people voted, 95% saying yes. Damages pegged at $400,000 from a house fire in West Windsor. The fire broke out just before midnight in the 900 block of Broadway Street. Windsor Fire says the structure is unsafe to enter and investigators are unable to look into the origin or cause of the fire. No one was inside the home when crews arrived and no injuries are reported. While it's unknown how that fire started, unattended cooking is one of the leading causes of house fires in the city. As crews continue responding to those calls, the province is also investing new money to help protect firefighters on the front lines. CTV's Chris Campbell reports.
Fire officials say it's a call they respond to far too often. A pot left on the stove or food forgotten in the oven.
People are not staying in the kitchen when they're cooking. They're leaving the kitchen. They're forgetting to turn the stove off. They kind of get distracted.
Unattended cooking remains one of the leading causes of residential fires in Windsor. Incidents officials say are often preventable but can quickly become dangerous.
Across the province, it's the #1 cause of fire right now. It's also the #1 cause of injury from fires in the province. province.
In 2025, over 180 unattended cooking fires were reported in Windsor, 13 in December alone.
This year, it looks like we've had 8 stovetop fires of some kind and at least 1 appliance fire. So right now we're on our way.
Even when flames are contained to the kitchen, firefighters say these calls expose crews to intense heat, smoke, and toxic gases, risks that add up over time.
The more limited amount of calls a firefighter makes, the more limited exposure they have to cancer-causing chemicals and particulate that's there in the event of a fire.
In neighboring Tecumseh, the province is investing nearly $35,000 to help firefighters stay safe on the job through a fire protection grant.
First time that the firefighters have received support like this from the province, and I certainly don't expect it'll be the last. We're happy to introduce this program.
The funding will be used to purchase new bunker gear, providing critical thermal protection and helping reduce cancer risks for firefighters responding to emergencies.
Really, all fires can be dangerous. It doesn't matter if it's an unattended cooking fire or a fully involved structure fire. Everything's got its risks.
While investments in equipment are essential, prevention remains the first line of defense.
Just stay in the kitchen when you're cooking. Use the proper equipment when you're cooking, your pots and your pans. Have a backup plan if there is a fire. Have an oven mitt nearby that you could use to put a lid on a fire.
Chris Campbell, CTV News.
Flurries are returning to the forecast. CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald joins us for a first look at the weather tonight. Gary.
Good evening, Stephanie. Good evening, folks. We got a brush of cooler air in the mid to lower levels of the atmosphere, turning rain to ice pellets, all part of this system through the early morning, even through the midday, and then it just cleared as some drier air moved in. But it's been windy, and it's going to get cold enough, certainly by tomorrow morning, say daybreak, at that time to see some flurries and a dominant northwesterly wind. We're going to be colder than seasonal. We've been above average of late, and it's coming tomorrow, and it will extend through the weekend and beyond. I'll break down what you need on all fronts just ahead. For now, I'll send it back to the desk.
A Windsor City Councilor is proposing a plan to increase the amount of downtown parking and generate more revenue. As Bob Belichico reports, the concern is by increasing enforcement time for meters, it will discourage more people from going downtown.
We're trying to do as much as we can to get people downtown, and when parking becomes an issue, they look other places to go.
At Monday's council meeting, Ronaldo Agostino asked administration to report back on parking enforcement adjustments.
When it comes to bringing in revenue, the city's idea to move this parking up to 9 p.m., to bring in additional $650,000. I've been working with the administration to get it to $1 million, but do it in a different way.
As it stands, you have to pay to park between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. Agostino wants to see that time rolled back to 6 p.m. and add angled parking.
It's a win-win-win for everybody, including bringing in the potential of $1 million in tax revenue that, again, can now be redeployed into the city, into the downtown core.
Every day is a big concern in this area. Yeah, it's just not enough parking, especially on the weekends. And, weekend nights. It's a fantastic idea.
Agostino says Pitt Street, Chatham Street, and Glengarry near Caesars Windsor are some of the roads that would change if the idea sticks. So Agostino is proposing about 250 angled parking spots spread out across the downtown core, including here on Pitt Street. Now, it's an interesting proposition here on Pitt Street because on the north side, there's a boatload of room to do the angled parking, which would help feed the restaurants on the south side of Pitt.
It looks as if we could probably double, if not a little bit more, the parking, even though it would just be to one side of the street. I think it would work out quite well if we were to go that route.
It'll be a lot less congested, a lot more accessible, and a lot less stressful when it comes down to it. So that's the main game.
Agostino suggests using the parking app to pay will be cheaper than paying cash at the meter.
Unfortunately, there's a cost to cash, right? People got to count it. People got to roll it. People got to collect it.
He hopes the report will be ready to be voted on by council January 26th. Bob Belichico, CTV News.
Also among the budget proposals is raising transit fares to $4, up from $3.75. That's led to numerous requests asking for transit fees to stay the same. Among those appealing to the city, the head of the Windsor-Essex County Health Unit.
For those that rely on or rely solely on public transit, transportation is a social determinant of health, just as much as housing, just as much as income, just as much as food.
Dr. Ken Blanchette telling the mayor and councillors continuing to raise transit fares could have real consequences for families already struggling, pointing to food insecurity data that shows many households are already being forced to make difficult trade-offs. Another delegation is asking the city for their equipment back and reimbursement for renovations they did inside the former Water World. MH100, a community group that focuses on keeping at-risk kids active, had to move out of the former Water World building during COVID. The group now claims the city owes them $500,000 in expenses and equipment. Mari Hagos told council on Monday the city took control of the gym equipment that was owned by the group. He also says the group spent $60,000 on murals inside the building's community space. Hago says he hasn't been able to access the space since then to get the equipment back.
Just to continue to help support and make Windsor a better place. That's our goal, is to help the community and help them. And a lot of the kids in that community has been forgotten about, right? So we just want to be there for them.
A $19 million road project near Devonshire Mall is now complete. The new intersection that links Howard Avenue and Division Road opened this morning. It's the last part of the more than $18 million reconstruction of the Howard corridor work that got underway last April. Mayor Drew Dilkin says Howard was rebuilt top to bottom. He says the delay was because CN Rail had to commission their infrastructure.
You know, at the final hour there, they had some additional requests to meet their safety requirements and resolve their concerns. And we're finally here.
Anytime you deal with a rail company, there's more layers of approval that are required, but we're thankful that CN worked with us here. They got the commissioning done, and the intersection will officially open today, linking Howard and Division.
Things are back to normal today at Matthew House in Forest Glade. A water main break Saturday night that flooded the grounds of the donor-funded refugee shelter has now been repaired. The break left 72 individuals inside the shelter without drinkable water for several days. The shelter still needs to raise $3,000 to cover the cost of the repairs. Do you have a story idea you think we should cover? A comment or a question for us, please send us a text at 10400. You can also send photos and video. Unruly passengers and disrupted flights still ahead on Windsor's news leader. A troubling new snapshot of chaos in the cabin. When we return, how Donald Trump's latest threat could impact talks between Ottawa and Beijing. And tomorrow, all eyes will be on the Windsor-built Charger. Could it win it all at the Car and Truck of the Year Awards? That's tomorrow at 6 on CTV News. Start your day with the latest local news. By signing up for our newsletter, you'll get direct local content straight from CTV Windsor to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewswindsor.ca. Prime Minister Mark Carney needs clarity domestically to have valuable conversations in China. It's why some premiers are helping in the push for tariff relief. CTV's Abigail Beeman breaks down the issues.
The U.S. president toured a Ford factory close to our border in Detroit and gave upcoming CUSMA trade talks a shrug.
It's irrelevant to me. Canada would love it. Canada wants it. They need it. Because we don't need Canada product. That's the thing. You know, I want to be a nice person, but we don't need. I want to build the cars here, not in Canada.
Donald Trump also doesn't want cheap Chinese EVs.
Thank you so much.
And flanked by Michigan lawmakers, Ontario Premier Doug Ford urged Mark Carney not to back down on Canada's 100% tariff on them during his trip to China.
It would not be good for Ontario and Canada, and it sure the heck wouldn't be good for the U.S., and it wouldn't be good when it comes to negotiating with President Trump.
Canadian government sources say to expect some progress on punishing canola tariffs, which China slapped on in retaliation for the EVs.
They've been absolutely devastating to the industry.
Well, we've lost over $1 billion Canada-wide. Frankly, just even for my farm, I'm just under $100,000 myself, and that really hurts.
But with Saskatchewan's premier now joining for some Beijing meetings.
Would you take Mo if you didn't expect some relief, some schedule of lower tariffs on canola? Probably not.
Many are wondering if that means EV concessions are on the table.
China's being very savvy in the way that it's picked areas to tariff to pit one region of the country against another. I think premiers have been very restrained in terms of their approach on this, in terms of not trying to divide the country against itself.
In a briefing ahead of the Prime Minister's China trip, federal government sources spoke of addressing trade irritants on both sides systematically, but wouldn't share details on conversations around canola or EVs. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
As you just heard, Trump addressed the Detroit Economic Club while he was in Detroit, delivering a wide-ranging address that often sounded more like a campaign rally than an economic speech. He did praise Iranian protesters, criticized Democrats, and promised a health care framework later on this week. He also addressed immigration and took aim at California Governor Gavin Newsom, a potential 2028 presidential contender. The U.S. president says help is on the way for Iranians as he urges them to keep on protesting despite a brutal crackdown by the regime. Here's CTV's Heather Wright.
These are some of the images airing on Iranian state TV, which are said to show the aftermath of nationwide protests that have been met with brutal force. For the first time, authorities have given an overall death toll, 2,000 people killed, while also blaming the United States and Israel of inciting the protests.
The young one, they will participate.
Dr. Shahram Azam knows just how ruthless the Iranian regime can be. He was a doctor in the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps when in 2003, the regime arrested Canadian photojournalist Zara Kazemi, who was later brought to his hospital. He says Kazemi was missing fingernails, had a broken nose, and her skull was fractured. There were also signs of rape. She later died.
There wasn't any chance it happens by accident. At least she was beaten, if not torture.
In 2005, Azam, his wife and daughter fled to Sweden and applied for asylum in Canada. In the 2 decades since he left, he's watched protests unfold in his home country, all met with brutal force. But he says these protests, happening in both big cities and small towns, feel different.
And I hope it's the end of this brutality, this regime, and these things happening to my people.
The extent of the protests and subsequent crackdowns in Iran are difficult to gauge as internet remains cut off and phone service is spotty. Protests have also spread to cities around the world, including here in Toronto, where this afternoon members of the Iranian community gathered outside the U.S. consulate. Today, U.S. President Donald Trump told protesters in Iran that help is on the way, but declined to clarify what that means.
Trump has vowed to intervene militarily on behalf of the protesters, encouraging them to keep demonstrating. While the U.S. had previously said they wanted to find a diplomatic solution, today Trump said all meetings with Iranian officials have been canceled. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Passengers behaving badly from uttering threats to indecent exposure have caused flight delays right across the country. The 2025 numbers are in, and WestJet leads with the most disruptive airline passengers. CTV's Scott Hurst delves into the incidents and how the airline is responding.
We're talking rage at cruising altitude and sometimes even before flights get off the ground. Canadian transportation authorities logged more than 100 reports of disruptive air passengers last year. The incidents caused numerous flights to be delayed, diverted, or turned back to the gate. In many cases, the passengers causing the disturbances were arrested or escorted off the plane by police. The 114 reports include a wide range of bad behavior, including refusing to return to a seat, vaping on board, uttering threats, assault, and indecent exposure, just to name a few. 45 of the 114 reports were filed by flights departing or arriving in Calgary, by far the most for any Canadian city. It is, as we know, a major WestJet hub, followed by Toronto with 27 reports and Vancouver with 21. In a statement, a WestJet and Sunwing spokesperson said the airlines have zero tolerance for this behavior. Air Canada tells CTV News the number of reported incidents is a small fraction of the millions of flying customers every year. The reports of bad behavior, however, are actually trending downwards over the past few years, but union reps for flight attendants tell CTV News cases of disruptive passengers often go unreported, depending on the severity of the incidents. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
Canada's main stock index edged lower despite strength in energy stocks. In Toronto, the TSX fell 4 points. In New York, the Dow lost 398. The Nasdaq dropped 24. The Canadian dollar is down 0.06 of a cent. On commodity markets, gold fell more than $15 an ounce. Oil gained $1.65 a barrel.
I have to learn how to walk. I had to learn how to use my arms.
Cosmetic surgery abroad turns life-threatening. One Ontario woman shares how cosmetic surgery nearly cost her life.
Let's look at our CTV News weather snapshot. Thanks to Silvio Carlini for this image. Just ahead, will flurries and windy conditions be in store for tomorrow and a prolonged chilly temperature trend into next week? We'll find out next on CTV News Windsor.
Discussion here at Windsor City Hall.
Windsor's top stories.
A major project is about to get underway.
Breaking news alerts.
Severe weather is a possibility.
And watch live.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Download the CTV News app.
Ice pellets there. And Gary, I feel like we saw a little bit of everything today. Cloudy, rain, ice pellets there, cloudy sky, sunshine.
A bit of a smorgasbord of weather and precipitation types. You know what? Unfortunately, the next 24 hours is going to be a bit messy. Today, we did get into a break that the computer models did not actually suggest in the latter stage of the afternoon. We knew the rain was coming. It came. We knew that there was potential for a mix. That too came, but then some drier air moved in. It still has been a windy day. And yes, we are still looking at a mild evening, but it feels colder than the ambient temperature. Reach a high so far of 6 degrees. You know, it could actually get a little bit warmer. We're in an abnormal warming trend in that the warmest air is coming in the latter stage of the day. And obviously weather doesn't care about a clock and doesn't work that way. So that's what we're dealing with. Air quality has been good. That's the trend of late, but it's been windy. And the gusts will be in the 60 to 70 range along the north shores of Lake Erie, further inland between the 45 to 55, 60 range through to 10 o'clock. And still be windy tomorrow. More on that in just a moment. Cooler in Chatham-Kent. Actually looking at about 37 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 3 degrees Celsius in clearing. 6 degrees at the airport in Windsor, or 43, and relatively clear. We are feeling colder. It feels like about 0 to +1 in Windsor, -4 in Chatham-Kent. That's your wind chill factor. It is colder, certainly in northwestern Ontario, and some of that cold air is coming our way. And that's why we will see this system start to yield some snow. Some rain is still in the forecast, potentially very light through the overnight, but I'm anticipating mostly flurries as we head towards tomorrow morning, and at around 8 a.m. that's when we're likely to see it. It's going to be windy tomorrow, so the breakdown tonight is still about a 30 to 40% chance of seeing some light rain showers. Still 4 degrees on the plus side. And then we'll drop down to possibly 0 to -1 in the afternoon in Chatham-Kent, about +1 in Windsor with some flurries, and then just get colder from there for the next several days. It looks like snow is on the way for the weekend. The average temperature between now and next week this time, about -3.
The Ford government says it's on track to deliver on its promise to connect every Ontarian with primary care in the next few years.
Ontario has already attached over 275,000 new patients to a primary care clinician, putting the province on track to meet or exceed our target of connecting 300,000 new people to care in 2025 and every Ontarian to a primary care provider by 2029.
Most of the progress has been from moving people off the Healthcare Connect wait list. Assistant the Auditor General says is being underutilized. Only 11% of Ontarians without primary care are using it. The Health Minister says work is being done to change that, but the opposition is unconvinced.
I think this is another example of the Minister of Health and this government gaslighting Ontarians, telling them that, look the other way. It's not us, it's you.
If this is actually the solution that Ontario patients have been dreaming about, well, they should act like they have confidence in the process and put some advertising behind it. Actually make sure that the word gets out.
The government says there are less than 2 million Ontarians without access to primary care. Medical tourism is a $100 billion industry worldwide, and increasingly Canadians seeking to reduce wait times and costs are jumping on the bandwagon. But what happens when things don't go smoothly? Tonight, in the first of a 3-part series, Pauline Chan shows us how one woman's desire for cosmetic changes left her fighting for her life in a foreign country.
She was a 52-year-old business owner and mother of 4 who also had abdominal surgery to remove a massive tumor.
My dream was to have a mummy makeover.
A tummy tuck and breast lift. But after her medical excursion to Costa Rica last fall, Nicole Grigorov is facing a very different future from what she expected for the new year.
So I have to learn how to walk. I had to learn how to use my arms. I have to learn how to do everything.
Sepsis resulted in the loss of her fingers and toes. But Nicole was just one of the thousands of Canadians who went overseas last year for medical or cosmetic surgery. The U.S.-based Medical Tourism Association says there's been a 40% jump last year in Canadians going abroad for anything from faster hip replacements to nose jobs.
It's estimated that it's 432,000. And that's, data we have from hospitals, governments in some of the destination countries.
I just went online and did a ton of research. So I interviewed some doctors in Canada. Canada wasn't out of the question.
But in the end, she chose a clinic in Costa Rica.
The main driving factor is the cost. The cost of care in those countries is considerably lower. The overhead expense, the time in an operating room, the medications cost less there.
The cost for Costa Rica, about $20,000 plus flights.
So in Canada, it would have probably been 25% more.
But Nicole doesn't recall waking up at the clinic where her surgery was done. Nicole Grigorov spent some 3 weeks in a coma in Costa Rica. Her organs shut down, and when she finally awoke, her next challenge was trying to get back to Canada. Close friend Rod Ponkin stepped in with $85,000 for an air ambulance, and that wasn't the only hurdle.
There's a lot of moving parts because the air ambulance, the doctor and their team had to correspond with Niagara doctors, and they had to consult.
It was a 2-week wait to secure a hospital bed, with Nicole paying for each day in the Costa Rican hospital. She arrived in Niagara just before Halloween, and a couple of weeks later, she had to have all her fingers and toes amputated.
I just want my life back. I want peace in my life.
In our next report, we hear from medical experts
and switch
about how medical tourism is a growing industry and what to be aware of. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
A tiny deer takes on a massive, nearly 2-ton rhino. Still ahead, who won? A charter challenge in Vancouver could have major ramifications right across the country. It is being led by the family of a woman with terminal cancer who was forced to leave a hospital in order to receive medical assistance in dying. CTV's Andrew Johnson explains why.
Sam O'Neill knew the end was coming soon. There was no stopping the cancer that had spread throughout her body.
We miss our daughter every minute of every day.
The one thing the 34-year-old could control in April 2023 was how her final moments would play out, or so she thought. She was assessed for medical assistance in dying and planned a ceremony surrounded by friends and family. O'Neill was receiving palliative care at Vancouver's St. Paul's Hospital, where she said staff were exceptional. But a faith-based institution, St. Paul's, doesn't allow MAID.
St. Paul's is a Catholic-run hospital, but it is also publicly funded.
In her final hours, O'Neill had to be transferred to another facility before she was sedated for the drive. In extreme pain, her mom says there was only time for a rushed goodbye.
And I told Sam quickly that being her mom was the first most joyful part of my life. I love being her mom.
O'Neill's death didn't play out as planned. After being sedated, she never regained consciousness before MAID was administered. O'Neill's mother is now the lead plaintiff in a constitutional challenge in BC Supreme Court. At the heart of the case, the MAID exemption the BC government grants to faith-based institutions.
We believe that no one should lose access to end-of-life care based on where they happen to receive treatment.
Providence Healthcare oversees St. Paul's Hospital and says in a statement it has a long-standing moral tradition of compassionate care that neither prolongs dying nor hastens death, rooted in the belief that all life is sacred. In the aftermath of O'Neill's death, the province created a separate building on the St. Paul's Hospital site for patients undergoing MAID. The plaintiffs in the charter challenge say that's not good enough. A decision is expected by late summer or fall. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
A controversial cartoonist and author has died. Scott Adams, the creator of the popular comic strip Dilbert, has been battling an aggressive form of prostate cancer. CTV's Adrian Gobriel on the man, his comic strip, and the legacy he leaves behind.
Comedic cynicism, it was a depiction of office culture that resonated with readers across the globe.
Luckily, everyone seems to be developing an immunity to the toxic environment.
At its height, Dilbert, the comic strip, created by Scott Adams, had its own TV series. In print, the mouthless, bespeckled character appeared in 2,000 newspapers worldwide in at least 70 countries and 25 languages. Adams once told CTV News that his own years spent working in a cubicle as an office dweller was the catalyst for his comic.
I spent 16 years in cubicles, first at a big bank and then at the phone company for 8 years. I became more cynical, if that was even possible.
Decades of Dilbert also gave way to multiple books, though the laughs came to an abrupt halt in 2023.
I got a call from my syndication company, and they said, we can't do business with you. We're done.
Adams was dropped by some of the world's largest newspapers following a racist remark he made on his YouTube show where he referenced a poll that asked people if they agree that it's okay to be white, a phrase used by white supremacists.
The best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people.
At the time, Adams insisted his comments were taken out of context, though he made no apology.
So Dilbert is now fully canceled.
Last year, Adams revealed he had prostate cancer that had spread to his bones.
So we'll see how far we get, okay?
Just last week, Adams appeared on his live stream for what would be his final public appearance.
This is going to be a tough week.
Early Tuesday, his ex-wife appeared on Adams' live stream to share the news of his passing.
But he's not with us right anymore.
Delivering one final written message left behind by Adams himself.
I had an amazing life. I gave it everything I had. Please know, I loved you all to the very end.
Scott Adams was 68 years old. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
This is your CTV Windsor Our Community Calendar. West of Windsor Incorporated International Women's Day celebration returns to acknowledge amazing women, individuals, businesses, and organizations through West's Journey Toward Success Awards. See you next time on Our Community.
It's time to check in on what's happening now with Melanie Kentner. And Melanie, you are taking us back in time 4 days.
That's right. Remember, January 9th was record-breakingly warm and extremely windy. Winds gusting to 110 kilometers per hour caused down trees and limbs. The city says they received 30 calls to 311. Of those, 15 were deemed to be emergency calls. According to the city, all critical issues have been addressed and their focus has now shifted to post-storm maintenance. We've got those details at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
And we also have a story on the website, Melanie, with the latest retail theft statistics.
Yeah, that's right. So Windsor police are reporting a big increase in the number of retailers proceeding with theft charges. Since launching the retail theft unit in July 2024, police say retailers pursuing charges rose by 84%. In 2025, shoplifting incidents dropped 25%, while cases cleared by charge increased 24%. You can see more police stats online. And in our social spotlight, a face-off between two very different animals at a zoo in Poland. So that's a muntjac deer weighing 17 kilograms going face-to-face with a massive Indian rhino, tipping the scales at nearly 1,700 kilos. In the end, it was the tiny deer who chased away that huge rhino. Zookeepers say it was all in fun. Was fun and games for the gentle giant, but the smaller animal's defense was sincere and it was protecting its mate.
Wow. I wonder the history behind that deer. Obviously, to be so protective, sometimes if you have nothing to lose, like just give it your all. But just taking a look at that video. Yeah. Wow, incredible. It's nice that the rhino was having a good time. Yeah. At least one of them were.
They posted an update and I think they're friends now.
Okay, that's good to hear. Okay, viewers at home have video they want to share with us. How can they do it?
Yeah, they can email us at newsnow@bellmedia.ca or text it to 10400.
Okay, thank you, Melanie.
I don't know this sound. So I just look up and I was like, well, I don't know this bird either.
One small bird and a very wrong address. When we return, a rare visitor that made a transatlantic trip. Extremely windy out there. Again, I was outside and I know you were as well, taking some video. Tripod almost flying over.
Yeah, and that was taken much earlier in the day through the latter stage of the afternoon, Stephanie. Things did look a lot better. We got into a bit of a clearing and some drier air, and we are relatively mild through to midnight. A couple of degrees, at least 3-4 degrees above the freezing mark. The warmest temperature tomorrow will be +4. We'll get there between midnight and 3 a.m. It's an unusual temperature pattern. We'll be at +1 in the afternoon when we would normally see the daytime high or daily maximum. So, flurries are on the way. It's going to be windy tomorrow. It will be windy Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Literally from Wednesday, Thursday through to this time next week, it's going to be cold and we're going to see some snow.
So regular seasonal winter conditions. Yes. Okay, thank you, Gary. Okay. And lastly, tonight, residents of Montreal are trying to get to the bottom of an avian mystery. How a bird that shouldn't be on this side of the Atlantic would wind up in their neighborhood. CTV's Christine Long checks out the feathered friend.
January 7th, Sabrina Jacob was putting out her garbage when she saw a rare bird.
I watch birds, so I was like, I don't know this sound. So I just look up and I was like, well, I don't know this bird either. He came straight up in front of me for 2 seconds. I took the video.
As her video shows, it's a hardy little bird who usually lives in Europe, even as far north as Scandinavia.
I saw him every day since. I have beautiful pictures, yeah.
When she shared her videos of the bird, people started flocking for a glimpse of this European robin on this side of the Atlantic.
It's nice to see the bird. We love the bird, but it's not like a chase for us. It's more like spending time with the bird.
How did this robin come here? Bird behaviorist Joël Coutu wonders if proximity to the port isn't a coincidence.
So it's possible that he hitched a ride and crossed the Atlantic Ocean. Other possibilities is the weather conditions as well. Lately in Europe, we've had these cold fronts, and Paris has had snow, and so it's possible these northern winds sort of pushed him here. I doubt he was carried in a luggage in a plane and released here, and it's possible he's been here for a while. So he could have been here for weeks or months, and maybe he did come during migration in the fall.
Some birders said they never thought they would see a European robin.
C'est comme prendre 5 cafés en même temps.
It's like having 5 coffees all at once, says this birder, and he's in good company here.
It wasn't even on the list. It wasn't within the realm of a possibility.
During dark January days, Jacob's discovery has brought a lot of joy to this neighborhood.
Love, he makes it through the winter and he stays with us with the spring. I would love to.
Christine Long, CTV News.
I know a lot of individuals in Windsor-Essex. They are very passionate birders as well. So like they mentioned in that story, these birds sometimes really do bring out joy and bring the community together in this case.
A beautiful bird that likely was a stowaway. I mean, let's be honest, right? Got aboard a ship, probably in Norway, and had a nice pleasure cruise to Canada. And there it is. Hopefully you find a mate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, on behalf of our dedicated team here at CTV News Windsor, thank you for watching. For updates throughout the evening, go to ctvnewswindsor.ca.
Sanjay Maru and I will be back for your only late local newscast at 11. See you then.